wacha tusikue naive. You understand? It's an ask. It's a huge of an ask, not gonna lie, because a lot of hesitation inakujanga hapo ukianza kujiuliza like, hey, what if it doesn't work? If you are looking for a partner, who would you go for? Like, you've made the decision that you want to bring in and accommodate life with a partner. Where would you start? Are you gonna start by making up a checklist of what you necessarily are looking for in a partner, and now go out, start combing through candidates one by one? I ain't even tripping on the whole idea of like having standards or necessarily qualities or just a certain requisite that your partner is supposed to have in order to commune with you and have a relationship with you. I'm not even tripping on that. I would say though, make sure that all that you're searching for and all that you're looking for, you have within. Have you ever heard of the Prince Charming delusion? At least that's what I call it. This idea that your partner is a total stranger, this mystery that one day will just appear out of nowhere and come and just sweep you off your feet. You see, unfortunately, this is the reality that is being perpetuated in our minds. The ideal fairy tale that I must not know him or her, he must come out of nowhere and he must just take my breath. I must be in a daze when I see him, and we will just meet, we will see each other, we will connect. And after connecting, from that instance that we make contact in any way, shape or form, from then on we shall build and now start to the journey of the relationship, where like we meet and date. We don't meet and get to know each other. Absolutely no history needed. And for me, even this delusion precedes the main issue, and like I'm more concentrated on. The thing here for me is dating from first meet, dating from first sight. You don't know the person, honestly speaking, you don't know them, but in your mind, it was as don't worry, like I'll get to know them as I date them. You understand? There's no history, there's no prior history with this kind of person, so you're just like leaping into the murkier waters of love and a relationship with no prior evidence of the person's character or necessarily who the person is. In your mind, you're just like, woohoo, let's go with the ties. Truly speaking, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into in the first place. So this begs a question in my mind, like, why would I be so infatuated with this idea of throwing my heart into what seems like the most riskiest situation for it? Why? I think it's a couple of things, but most importantly, we are that generation that doesn't know any better. To be honest, kusema tu kweli, like we were at the front seat when it came to the fast evolution of media and social media. We were there to actually witness it all. You understand? From the onset of each and every, all the narratives that were being spun from when we were young, and we actually grew up with that. A lot of them led to the institution of this Prince Charming delusion in our minds. If you don't believe me, kauniamini, let me prove it to you. Disney. So you know Disney. A lot of the stories that you've seen of all the princess and prince, all that, the whole idea that this princess is locked somewhere far and the Prince Charming comes from a far, far away land. All of a sudden they meet each other, they cross paths, and once they cross paths, they fall in love. This actually feeds a lot of the unfamiliarity that we search for in relationships. I'm looking for something very different, out of my circle, out of what I'm used to. So I know I must search for it somewhere else. I know I must take myself, uproot myself, and just go and search for this unfamiliarity that I'm searching for, and hopefully find it, in another person. And so you kind of toss yourself into, those murkier waters of navigating people you necessarily don't know, and you don't know their genetic makeup, you don't know their character, and you don't know how necessarily they navigate through life from their own perspective, but in your head you fancy them. You see yourself as that princess, you understand? You view the other person like that as a prince, not gonna lie, otherwise you wouldn't be infatuated with them. But anyway, that's the whole interaction where sometimes unatafuta kitu different, kitu foreign, yani unatafuta to like something that would, spark a certain mystery, a certain allure to it. Yenye maybe you aren't getting it from your current life, or you're not necessarily like getting it from your current day to day. So you feel like you must remove yourself out of that situation that you're in and put yourself in, very, very different, very unusual, very not used to this kind of situations. Ni sawa, achane na Disney, achane na look at your films, the films that you see nowadays. I mean, inakwanga tu that guy and then that lady kutoka huko hivyo, and like either one is like the new kid in school, Miss Jui, but they are strangers. Ni sawa, they are strangers. But then you just find kuna kale kasiku moja sijui, they're in that hallway, they're walking around, then all of a sudden they just bump each other, and then hizo vitabu zinaanguka hapo. Then all of a sudden everyone is just trying to do damage control, because they say, oh, let me help you, pick you up, and then all of a sudden they touch hands. Then it's, I see trees of green, red roses too. I'm not lying though. I'm not lying. I mean, to be honest, that's how it goes. And sometimes it's even film creators themselves, they lack to show you the whole idea of passage of time. They lack a way to kind of represent the whole idea of passage of time, even enough to kind of institute in your mind like, okay, so vitu zime progress, they've become friends. Then Zaya inakwanga tu like they met each other that one day, all of a sudden they're just hanging out in day 2, day 3, then all of a sudden day 4 they kissed. Jamani, the relationship has started. I mean, ninaona hadi mwisho. Maybe it's me that finds it sad that in our minds, like, reality is the reality we live. I mean, like, reality is subjective, but like objectively unatuona kila msee like is generally out here packing their bags saying that, hey, jamani hapana, so mimi nifunge virago zangu and get myself out of this whatever situation it may be, and I just walk out and search for this. I hold myself as the princess that I am, I hold myself as the prince that I am, and just look for that car once in a lifetime, once in a blue moon, like fairy tale experience. Like, that's what I want, you understand? And it's mad to an extent, I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things where necessarily can't you stick to like realism? Just maybe you don't need to search for that. I don't want to call it ecstasy, but to an extent it resembles that, cause you're looking for this larger than life experience. To be honest, siko bad, maybe I'm trashing those type of relationships, but let's be honest. I mean, 9 times out of 10, not all of them necessarily like pan out, because to an extent, when you think about it, love really doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, Disney lied to you. Love doesn't work like that. Films, they're there for the whole purpose of the story. Not for the whole purpose of the story, I'm rambling. The films are there to evoke emotions, to just string you along and get you through Act 1, take you to Act 2, and just leave you at that peak at Act 3. It's all good, it's entertainment at the end of the day, but when it impacts us so much to the extent where we start basing our own life decisions from the entertainment that we see, it becomes crippling. Now, stay with me. The only person who necessarily, like me, I feel you can love is the person you know, and mwenye between you and them, at even the simple values or simple concepts of trust, understanding, communication between you and them, that idea of trust, si hata kitu foreign, like mshazoea at this point. Mnaweza guess wewe ni nani? Guess, jaribu guess. Your friend, rafiki yako hapo hivyo. Yes, he or she is the one. I'm not gonna lie, honestly speaking, because it's more natural to progress a friendship into a more romantic relationship. other than kupatana tu na msee poo. And then from the interaction already, like you can tell like this is gonna be one of those Prince Charming delusion kind of relationships, unanielewa? So like already the whole idea of romance is hanging over your heads. Kuna the whole expectation of like nakudai, msee pia nakudai, so like lazima, you know, like I don't know, it's crazy because your friend knows your ins and outs, like anakujua kabisa to an extent where, for example, tuseme your prince akako hivyo anaona una text 1212, like y'all are texting, and then all of a sudden like the convo dogo cheza patikani, so he'll be like yani princess anajiona mtambo, ai tu can play that game, hata pia nini mnyamazie tuone penye itafika. Ai kwani, but if it was your friend angejua iko shida na so and so. Ukiona bongi, there's something wrong or something going on somewhere that nafani check up on. But then your prince hapo atakuwa zile za sana jona mtambo, ni sawa try to kuonyeshe pia sisi. And it's crazy because like that's the whole rebuttal that I have against these Prince Charming relationships zenye like we just meet each other to tap na tunaanza niko zile za nah man. But to be honest, even though I get it, but me I'm like, unaona rafiki yako mwenye kwa hapo kando kusema tu kweli, he's been there, he knows you truly. I mean, we can't lie. At the end of the day, bro, like he knows your ins and outs. Anajua like mood zako, kiwa juu, kiwa chini. You understand each other. You all have a good sense of communication as friends. It wouldn't cost much to, lakini wacha tusikue naive. You understand? It's an ask. It's a huge of an ask, not gonna lie, because a lot of hesitation inakujanga hapo ukianza kujiuliza like, hey, what if it doesn't work? You know, what if you know it doesn't, you know, pan out venye tulikuwa tumefikiria kwa akili. I mean, you understand? Because at that point you'll not only be losing out like your lover, but you'll also be losing your friend. You understand? And hapo hivyo na get kuna so many hesitations zenye zinaweza kuwa vitu kaa like unakumkanga Kaisenat, unaweza ambiwa zile za but we friends though, which is sad. But I also feel when you set up your anticipation for failure, then I mean, guess utapata nini? Exactly what you're looking for. And if you embark on it with a more positive and optimistic outlook on it, then I'm sure you will succeed. And also like this is the whole thing where like, bro, I mean relationships aren't like well-oiled machines. They're not. Lazima ungangani, lazima upige maintenance, lazima put in some elbow grease ndo iweze ku, you know, happen. You understand? But also tukifikiria hivyo, tunasema hivyo for the Prince Charming delusion pia. Just think about it. This is my own personal view on the matter that I've discussed, and no viewer should take it up as their standard, but it will be insightful as you navigate through life.